All right. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, live me. I have a guest today. You guys know that we did a guest before in this show. We had Sam Ronan. Well, now we have a rock and roller turned candidate for Florida's 26th district. We have Steve Machat. I have your book right here. I've not read it yet, but I really need to. Here's his book, you guys. It is Gods, Gangsters, and Honor. Steve, thanks for being here, man. How are you?
I'm honored to be here with you, and I'm honored you have my book. So thank you.
Yes.
I'm
sorry.
I said you will enjoy the book.
I'm very excited. I wish I would have if I knew I was going to have you further in advance, I would have had it read, but this was sort of a surprise. My roommate jumped at the idea of trying to book guests, which was really cool of him. And yeah, you were the first one. And apparently we have a lot in common. So he thought we'd have an exciting chat because I too am really into music and politics. So we have that in common. So let's jump right into it. Live me, folks. Steve Machat, you are running for the 26th district, correct, in Florida?
Correct.
All right, so Steve Machat is running for the 26th district in Florida. He has run as an independent in the past. This time around, he's running as a Democrat, and he's got a big history. He has a long history in the music industry. He has worked with Ozzy Osbourne. Help me out. What other names have you worked with? I know there's a long list.
Genesis, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, Phil Spector, who used to live right by where you are, and that's where he killed
Phil
that
Spector
woman.
did?
Yeah. He lived over in Pasadena.
I did not know that.
And I did Snoop, Daz, Corrupt.
All right.
I mean, I've Seal, Adamski. I've done a lot.
Okay.
But the most important thing I've done is I've lived around the planet and I learned people. I had a record label with my son who passed away, unfortunately, producing music. It was called Hippos and Tanks. It was the #1 electronic music for your generation. Mm-hmm. We had artists like Archer, James Ferraro. We had, unfortunately, Young Lean, which was the band that ended up taking away my son's life in that horrible hurricane of whatever. And anyway, I'm here. I'm here to help your generation believe in an American dream. That's all I want to do, is if you believe you can achieve a dream, our country changes.
All right.
And what happened is my generation put roadblocks there, and it needs to stop. I'm yours. Ask me questions.
All right. Well, so what made you make the jump from, entertainment to politics? Like what kind of was like, when did that wheel turn kind of the other direction?
It turned before I got into music.
Okay.
When I was in college here at the University of Miami, I am Floridian and I'm whatever. I always thought Florida was the 6th borough of New York, and LA was the 7th. But anyway, I got into politics early. I can't stop reading. I can't stop learning. I want to know why you give away control, you the people. I want to understand what really goes on with mankind. Why do we let other people tell you what to do? And the way to stop it is through song and dance. When you get people involved in music, it stops.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden the flow, we're all vibrations. And I don't want to come off spiritual. I'm just real. I know how to help people believe in a dream. I know how to help have people go achieve a dream. I've done it with every band I just told you. It was all done independent. And then we went to the big corporations because they had more access to distribute. But all the originality, all the creativity came when these people were on their own. Because the minute you get into big corporations, then they're treating you like, hey, you're a brand on this shelf. This is what we need from you. And it doesn't work like that. People need to feel you. They need to hear you. They need to get inside you. They need to encourage you to become more. So I went to Vanderbilt Law School, where we're representing Capricorn Records. My father, Machat, the senior Machat, he and I ended up being partners, which I love every minute. And I was partners with my son, too. So at Vanderbilt, we had Capricorn Records. I'm at law school. And Capricorn Records created the impetus to get a man named Jimmy Carter elected president. I got involved in it. I was a Tennessee delegate for the 76th Democratic Convention. But funnily enough, they put me in as a Cherokee Indian because I guess I was ready to go wake people up.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democratic Party had me fill an empty seat. I was the delegate for Jimmy Carter. I've been involved my whole life.
Okay.
I just don't understand why we give away our power to a government. And I'm here to reinvigorate and do what I can to show you what I've learned by living in the world.
So you've run as an independent before. Now you're running in the Democratic Party. What made you decide to make that shift?
I made the shift because I want to win. I learned how to play the game by being part of the independents. I ended up getting into a lawsuit with everybody because they wouldn't put me on the campaign debate. So I sued them, and I sued them 3 times. First 2 times, he got thrown out of federal court. Third time, I went, that's it. I went in the state court, got a hearing. It was October 17th, the day of the debate in Orlando. I sued the FEC Political. I sued Florida, the Democrats. I sued ABC, NBC, Disney too. And they had 13 lawyers, so thereabouts come and argue against me. I called it political payola. You live in a nation that licenses the airwaves out to they are political, to corporations who then sit and close the airwaves off to you. When I hear net neutrality, I want to throw up. What we need a public broadband. You don't need net neutrality because you're paying another corporation. We need public broadband. We need public space. My lawsuit was based on the following premise. This is political payola. What is political payola? These radios and TV stations are hawking that airtime if you give them money. The people need to know who's running for their campaign. That should be free, like it is in other areas of the world. Instead, it became like what we said earlier, music. How am I going to get soft sell on the radio? Well, I'll pay to get it on the radio. That's the truth. You pay with advertising ads, or you pay DJs. You do all these things, and that's what really goes on. So I sued to get on it. They thought I had a novel expression. I called it political payola. The judge kicked it up to the next court, but the truth is I was out of time because the debate went on anyway. They didn't hold the debate. And what am I going to do? Because the disaster of my campaign was over. I couldn't get on the radio before November 6th. They kept me off. So that's why we have a political parties, Republican and Democrat, that own the airwaves. So you have to do what they say. They tell you to go run for office so you can get donors. Donors to do what? Buy public airtime that these stations are hawking out? It needs to stop.
Yeah.
It so badly needs to stop. I'm asking America, let me be your sword. Let me be your shield. I want to protect you like I have my artists. I will help us. All I want to do is serve people. That's all I want to do now.
Well, I mean, the analogy is a good one because I tell people, look, when you turn on the corporate media, when you turn on MSNBC or CNN, and you see these ads for the oil and gas company every third commercial, they're not trying to get the word out. They don't have a message that they need you to hear. They know you're going to put gasoline in your car because that's what makes it go. They're buying favorable coverage. They're buying the fact that when something like DAPL happens, these media outlets aren't going to talk about it. They're buying the fact that when an oil spill happens, they're going to marginalize it. They're buying the fact that the media is not going to talk about fracking. Just like Comcast is buying the fact that MSNBC isn't going to give you an honest report on what net neutrality really is or why we need to take back our own broadband to permanently fix this. So
can I pause you for a second? My computer battery is about to go out, so that's why I'm looking around. I'm going to go on my phone to get on Hangout. That's, I guess, what I have to do.
All right.
But no, I can still talk to you.
All right. So, folks on the live me, for anyone just tuning in, you guys get to ask Steve Machat questions. This guy is a music producer who's always had the political bug going on. Now he's running in Florida's 26th district. He's running as a Democrat, and he is yours. He's worked with everybody. He's worked with Phil Collins. He's worked with Ozzy Osbourne. He's worked with, the list goes on and on, Phil Spector even, which, man, I could probably ask you questions all day about that one. But that's what we're dealing with. He's got to go fix something on his phone right now to fix his battery.
I'm right here. I'm getting it on the phone. So we got 6 bars left. So let's keep going. What do you got for me?
So tell us a little bit about your race. Anyone that's not familiar with your specific district, who are your opponents? You know, what do you bring to the table platform-wise?
I bring a fight, the fight that's within me, the fight to protect the people. I am not taking corporate money. I will not do that. Nancy Pelosi and the DCC ran someone against me that's no different than Deborah Wasserman Schultz. And I think it's a crime to mankind because Donald Trump became our president. But for him to become our president, the Democrats had a lot to do with it. They ran a woman, Hillary Clinton, who was a great woman, but you know something? She's past the prime. She didn't have a message, and people your age didn't resonate around it. It was a pop music campaign, and there was no song. There was no hook. You didn't believe it. You didn't get involved. Donald Trump, on the other hand, ran a country music campaign of hate, picking on people, and being a big bully. That's all he is. And you know something? No, but it's true, right?
It's very true. No, it is incredibly true.
Johnny Paychecks, take this job and shove it. That's what he did. And Hillary didn't have a message. And I tell people this. So now Nancy Pelosi, who God bless her, she served America great. Charles Schumer, another one, did great. They need to be retired. We need term limits.
I agree with the second part of that. I agree with the they need to be retired part.
They need to be retired.
Yeah.
No, and more importantly, they say, well, the Constitution. I tell people the Constitution was written in 1788.
Yeah.
Your lifespan was 40. I'd be dead. That's why there was no term limits. You didn't live past 40, and if you did, you were blessed. They thought that's the way it was supposed to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that the old guard really needs to go. I think the Democratic Party is broken beyond repair, but I certainly support the idea of trying to infiltrate it from within because we got to try everything.
I need your generation to back me. I need your generation to support me. I'll be your band leader. I need to make you believe in America again. America's the greatest land. I've lived in 65 nations for doing some music. I've been all over the world. No one has my experience. No one understands it. I even had a platinum, no, I didn't. I had a gold record from Iran, a band called Struns and Farah in America. And I say that only to make you smile, which you just did. I love being able to protect people.
So, well, what type of stuff did you do on the music side of it? Just to divert a little bit here, like were you just like a record producer, or were you a player too, or?
I was in charge. I'm the wheel. I can play. I love baseball. So loving baseball, I was able to play all the positions. I even caught. I even pitched. I was in center field. You know something? I didn't like third base because that ball was coming at you. But what can you do? I play all positions in music. I'm a lawyer by training, an accountant by training. I have all the economic warfare weapons, and I know how to market. I know how to promote, and I know a hit song when I hear it. So I would hear the songs, and I would go promote and market it. I love traveling. I love touring. So I learned how to do all of that too. And my first real show was the Electric Light Orchestra in 1978. We had a laser show that went on everywhere. It was the Out of Blue show, Out of the Blue tour with ELO, and basically it was the spaceship. The spaceship would land. They would come out of the spaceship. And what I would do next is I would just keep it going. I would keep it going. I did the New Edition where we had the magicians because we didn't have a full show. I did the New Edition tours. I did Bobby Brown. I've done a lot of these things, and all I want to do is do another tour to help America believe in America again. We don't, and it needs to change.
So how do we get there? How do we get back to believing in America? Or what is the American dream for my generation?
The American dream is the Declaration of Independence. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without kingdom or pope. It came out in 1776. 1781, we had 8 presidents. 1789, we end up with a new constitution, and you're taught that George Washington was the first president of the United States. No, he wasn't. The Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, they needed a constitution so Europe could deal with them. That's what they did. So they created a constitution where people would invest in the United States. It's life, liberty, and the protection of property. The problem is whose property? 1789, you have an agricultural world where everyone, for whatever reason, was able to live on and off the land. In the 1880s, as we really industrialized, people started moving into the cities. We never caught up. We've been trying to figure out how to make this Aquarian constitution work for what was then the industrial world. And then what happened is we're now the information world. We need a 21st century constitution, a 21st century government. And I see it so simple. We need to give everyone health care across the board. We need to give everyone an education across the board. My opponent that they put against me, this woman who, her name is Debbie Powell. She says she's been part of the health community. What community? Where you go to doctors and they give you pills so you stay sick? Why don't you teach people how to get better? Why don't you teach people how to stay healthy? How could you sit here without having Planned Parenthood as a must? You must teach young kids what goes on. How could you sit here and give people Monsanto food? How do you let them poison your water? How do you let them put fracking in? I did fracking. I understand fracking. I'm not angry. I'm emotional because I don't understand what went wrong in our country.
Oh, you're allowed to be angry. I'm angry.
I don't get why we go after paper profits. Why are we the only industrial nation that doesn't own and control our central bank? Why are we the only industrial nation that allows Monsanto to go poison our food, poison our waters, and cut down our green trees? Life is a balance. I am so honored and happy I get to run in the Everglades, the Keys, and South Miami. It's my favorite place on earth. I've lived everywhere, as I said.
All right, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go.
All right. Well, I have a follow-up question on that, and then after that, we're going to turn to the chat. Live me, folks. You guys have had some cool comments. I'm going to read them in a second to Steve. Ask some questions, too. You're allowed to ask him questions. Ask some questions. I will give your question to him. But first, a quick follow-up. So you said we live in an information age, which is very true. Using the music metaphor again, it used to be people would go to the record store, they pick up the latest thing on vinyl. Now, I mean, there's a million different channels going on. There's a million different ways to find music. There's a million different bands and ideas floating out there. How does a message really resonate? How do we mobilize people in this information age to really get an effective movement? Also follow up. You mentioned everybody needs to have health care. Everybody needs to have educational opportunities. I totally agree. But you're going to get pushback even from the Democratic Party, especially from the Democratic Party. The old say, how are we going to pay for that? What's your answer to all that?
It's simple. Nationalize the Federal Reserve. It's over. They take interest. I, the people, give you the Federal Reserve cash, right? You loan that cash back to me. You discount it. You get interest on what you give me. You get costs and expense. It's the biggest bookie game ever. Supertramp sang it best. It's the crime of the century. We are the only nation that does not own and control our Federal Reserve. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. They don't work for us. They finance the IMF. If you go around the world, you want to find out who the U.S. hates? It's real simple. Who's not in the IMF? Iran has the bomb. Straight up, they have the bomb. So we're not allowed to know that. So we stopped Iran from making the bomb. No, we didn't. What Iran did is they joined the IMF. Why do we hate Syria? Well, they dropped out of the IMF. Why did Hillary Clinton's Secretary of State go attack Libya? They dropped out of the IMF. Why do we dislike Cuba? They're not in the IMF. North Korea, not in the IMF. It needs to stop. We need to build America. We need to become the greatest team America could possibly be. And we can do it. We can really do it. I'm having trouble getting on this thing with you.
Yeah, it's weird on a phone, man. Can you just can you plug in your computer to power? Like, do you have a?
No, I didn't bring my power.
Oh,
that's the problem. But what can I?
Well, we'll just keep going. We'll just keep going until technology tells you we can't anymore.
And then, can I just call you when we do it by phone?
Yeah, I guess we could do that. Yeah, we'll reconnect. We'll figure out how. Or actually, we can't do it by phone because I have the stream going on my phone. I have the stream going on my phone and my computer. So we'll just keep going until power leaves you. So let's go to the chat here. Let's see. Somebody commented that you remind them of Bernie. Don't bring me down, Bruce. I'm not sure what that's a reference to, Dem Socialist.
Don't
That's
bring me down. It's the Electric Light Orchestra.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
Very good.
Song. So somebody posted an ELO reference. Joe, he's really inspirational. I like him a lot. We became a plutocracy back in the 50s. What's up? Here we go. You can do a call on Hangouts. There's a way. All right, so we might be able to do that. How has here, Dem Socialist wants to know, how has the recording process changed over the decades?
I'm about to lose you, so what should I do?
I think there's a way I can send you an invitation. I'm not sure. I wasn't prepared for, that happening. So let's just take this question, and then when you lose me, you lose me. How has the recording process changed over the years?
It's become digital. It used to be done. Anyone could record their own music. We have open access, so there's more music than ever. There's no. We used to have a built-in censorship where people would sit and audition the music, and then they would figure out how to play it or not play it. And there's because of my father, when I grew up in the business, my father, he used to bring me around. I remember meeting Quincy Jones in 1964 when he was producing Leslie Gore. I watched him produce a song, "It's My Party." Phil Spector.
There it is. All right, we lost him. He was going to tell a Phil Spector story too, which is kind of a bummer. Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.